Hi everybody and welcome back to Mike's Magic Meals. I screwed up this afternoon. I was supposed to put some pot roast in. I figured it'd be about 2 o'clock and it's pushing 5 o'clock now and we like to dine 6:30 or so. So I'm going to do pressure cooker pot roast and I thought maybe you'd enjoy seeing how it goes. First thing I'm going to do is I have about 3 pounds of chuck roast here. I'm going to season it. And then I'm going to sear it because searing is I'm going to put a face on it. It's going to add flavor. And I want to point out, this is way too much food for Trudy and me. No way we can eat that at a single sitting. So I expect there will be leftovers. And those leftovers will not go to waste. I'm either going to use them in a beef taco. Yeah, I like beef tacos too. Or potentially in a chili. Anyway, I'm going to get started. And I've gotten permission to season here instead of over the sink. Thanks a lot, guys. You're helping me out already. So just salt. It's the kosher salt. And I told you, honey, it's a mess. So we have the salt. We have ground pepper. I had a couple of friends ask me about the pepper grinder. I actually don't know where it came from, except good friends of ours had gifted it to us, probably 6-7 years ago. And again, a little garlic powder. I'm gonna turn these beautiful pieces of meat over and essentially do the same thing on the other side. So again, it's the kosher salt. And that's probably maybe a teaspoon and a half total. Again, I mentioned in a previous video that we watch the salt intake. However, since most of the food that we eat is fresh and we prepare it ourselves, we can control the amount of salt. So I'm doing that for flavor. It's not for preservation, like some of the stuff you get in a can. And that's the seasoned meat. So at this point, I just want to turn over here and we'll pick this up in a minute. This is the pressure cooker. It's got several pieces, and the key to this is safety, of course, and the modern machines are much better than they were. It has a rubber gasket, and this is washed. Everything is absolutely as clean as can be. This is removed, and then prior to use, I take a little bit of vegetable oil, and I put it on this. It helps to seal and hold the pressure, so that if there is overpressure, it'll come out the valve the way that it's supposed to. Okay? So I'm going to prepare the pressure cooker for searing, and basically what I'm going to do is add a little vegetable oil and turn up the heat. And I'm just going to give you all a heads up. We're going to heat this. What I'm looking for again is the oil to just reach the smoke point. I'm going to be turning on fans. And when I put the meat in, it's going to sizzle, so it could get loud. We'll see you in a minute after this is hot. So I've got the pan hot. I'm turning the fan on medium. And in comes the beef. And I'm going to put this down probably about 30 seconds aside. I'm looking for that sear to get it brown, because this is going to be in the pressure cooker. There's going to be moisture. The sear is really going to impart flavor to this beef. And I have the light chuck roast. We do some stuff with chuck roast. It really is kind of fun. I've been able to butcher and remove sinew and so forth. And it is so flavorful and unbelievably tender. Maybe I'll do that another time. But as you can see, I've got smoke coming up. Turn down the fire a little bit. That's going to be tasty. Tonight, I'm going to be, basically I want to bring this out so you can see the sear that I'm putting on. But at that point, I'm just going to add the ingredients and we're going to bring up the pressure. This is going to take about 45 minutes, and I'm going to do it in a couple of steps. First we're going to start in on meat. We're going to do it for about 15 minutes. Then I'm going to expose it, release the pressure, and then I'm going to add the veggies that we have. You know, this is the fun part for me. I think I mentioned this in a prior video. We all have to eat, and the stuff that we do to food, it completely changes the character of it. And I find it so pleasing and fulfilling to be able to do stuff that I think is pretty good, and Trudy does too. Okay, I'm going to go another 30 seconds or so, and then I'm going to be satisfied with the way that is. I also don't like the smoke, but this fan system isn't nearly as effective as what I would prefer. But it is what I got, and so you make do. And I think that's a lesson for all of us too. You can make do. You can make wonderful food. And today happens to be a Wednesday. This is going to be a heck of a Wednesday dinner. Okay, fire going on.
And this is essentially what you do when you don't pressure cook, correct?
Same kind of thing. So this is the meat that is going to end up going in. I just wanted you to see, we just put a little sear on it. There's nothing really heavy. And you could keep going if you wanted to. I'm just going to press for time because I got preoccupied. Didn't get the thing in the oven in the normal. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. A little bit out of order, I have my mise en place here. That's a French phrase that means put all the stuff that you're going to put in and you don't want to forget out, because you will forget it if you're me. I also have what amounts to my concocted beef broth. I didn't have a can of beef broth. It calls for about a pint. You need that to actually create the pressure. And I did that by adding the beef base. If you haven't tried this, it's good stuff. So anyway, at this point, I'm going to add the broth to the pot. Get in there, you little pesky thing. I have a little garlic that I want in there. I just want it to soften, and at the end of the day, it's going to disappear. Did you take a peek at that? I mean, that's one little clove, so it's not a whole lot. And this time, it's in addition and serving a different purpose than the granulated garlic that we use to season. So that baby goes in. I'm going to do the same thing with these dried onions. It's just the dried stuff you buy at the market. Again, if you've ever had French onion soup, the idea is the onions, it adds a sweetness, the beef broth, and I think it'll be tasty. So that's probably a tablespoon. And the meat that we seared is going right back in. And the fire goes on. We'll cover this up. Lock it, turn it on high pressure, and when it comes up, we'll start a timer. I don't know whether we'll come back and you'll get to see that magic moment, but it is kind of cool. Pressure cooking really is a way to accomplish cooking, particularly proteins, much quicker than you can because of the pressure. So I'll see you in a couple of minutes. I guess we will come back when this thing pops up. We'll start the timer. So we're at pressure. Alexa, start a timer for 15 minutes. Got the timer going?
15 minutes. Starting now.
I'm turning down the heat because I don't need to overpress this. And by the way, this is really the old school, I guess the new kitchen tool would be the instant pot. I have a lot of kitchen tools. That's one I don't have, and if any of y'all feel like, stepping up, let me know, because I'd like to try one. I understand people are afraid of this. I have never had any concern about the modern pressure cooker. Although I do recall my mom putting stuff in and it kept the kids out of the kitchen and that kind of thing. Anyway, the Instant Pot, if you have it, that's the tool that you would use for this dish. And we'll see you in about 15 minutes when we add the veggies. So our 15-minute timer has just gone off. I'm turning off the heat. I want to release the pressure, which I'm doing right now. And that'll take a minute or so. I'm going to come back once that's released, and we're going to add the veggies and the rest of our mise en place. See you in a couple minutes. Pressure is released. I'm going to open it up. And man, oh man, does that look anemic right now. But it'll get better. I do want to taste the broth in case I choose to add a little more of that beef base. So I'm doing that right now. Oh, okay, that is really good. Holy smoke. And I'm going to add the mise en place, the stuff you don't want to forget. This carrots, half an onion. I got a little celery here that I just want basically for seasoning.
How many carrots?
Those are 2 carrots.
Okay.
One of them was big, the other one was a little guy. So that's getting pushed in. Some of you are probably thinking, where is the starch? Again, we count carbs, and the carrots are going to take the place of the starch tonight. At this point, if you wanted potatoes, this is the time to put them in, and they would be great. I have a little bit of remaindered, God, what is that?
Chilies.
It's chilies. It's hatch chilies. And I think it might be kind of fun, so I'm tossing that into, it's just a teaspoonful.
Are those the hot or the mild?
I have no idea. I don't really care. And then the final little thing I'm going to toss in is some baby portobellos. And that's probably, I think it's 4 mushrooms. No big deal. That goes in. And if you want to take a peek into the pot,
Yum.
yeah, it should be. So we're going to put the lid back on. I'm going to turn the heat back on. And once it comes back up to pressure, we're going to let it go 30 minutes. And then instead of me releasing the pressure, this time we're going to let it cool down on its own. I forget the word that they use, but it's basically naturally. And at that point, we'll get to decide whether we want to do anything additional with the sauce, with the broth that's in there, maybe a little sour cream or something. But we'll be removing the vegetables and the beef. So see you in probably half an hour. So the timer just went off. It's been 30 minutes since we added the veggies. I'm turning off the fire. I'm going to move the pressure cooker off of the hot burner onto something that's cooler. We're just going to let this relax. And if you'll notice, I'm not wearing an apron. And that's because I'm just going to let this rest. I'm really having a great time doing this, and I hope maybe you're getting some tips. I'm not trying to be snooty about this, but I'm really having fun. I hope you are too.
How long is this going to rest?
I don't know. Until the steam, until the button, there's a button here, you may want to come and take a look at it. The button will drop, that will say that the pressure is released, and at that point, we're going to come real close to having something to eat. See you in a bit. I don't know what a key grip is, but my wife who was filming just said she was the key grip. All I know is that the pressure's finally dropped. I'm going to drag the chuck roast over here, and if you want to step up and take a look at this, open up. There it is. Holy smoke, does that look nice? Got a peek?
Ooh.
Holy smoke. Well, let's see if I can pull out the pieces. That actually looks delicious. I wish you could, the old request for smell-o-vision, of course. And what we have instead is, I get to smell it, and she does too. This is, oh, the onions are beautiful. They're translucent. The carrots, of course, you know, they're more done than I would prefer, but they're wonderful. And I want to ask you to take a look at the gravy treatment. Please take a look in here because this is going to be fabulous too. I'm actually going to add a little dollop of sour cream to that, and I'm going to drizzle it over the top. Let me do that. I'm going to put it back on the stove where I cook, and then we're just about ready to eat. So I've got a tablespoonful of sour cream. It goes into the gravy that you saw. I'm stirring it in. And just like that, that's done. And now I'm just going to take a light drizzle over the top. I want that little bit of acid that the sour cream will provide. It's a Wednesday night. We're going to dine on that. It was pretty easy, and it's taken probably an hour from start to finish. 45 minutes in the pressure cooker. You can do it in your Instant Pot. There's nothing mysterious about this, but there is magic. Let's get together and cook.